Hello, we're reading from Ideas and Opinions by Albert Einstein, and I'm reading um, uh, a, a speech he's given or talk he's given on education, Einstein. So let's continue with that. Such a school demands from the teacher that he be a kind of artist in his province. What can be done that this spirit be gained in the school? For this, there is just as little a universal remedy as there is for an individual to remain well. But there are certain necessary conditions which can be met. First, teachers should grow up in such schools. Second, the teacher should be given extensive liberty in the selection of the material to be taught and the methods of teaching employed by him. For it is true also to him that pleasure in the shaping of his work is killed by force and exterior pressure. If you have followed attentively my meditations up to this point, you will probably wonder about one thing. I have spoken fully in what spirit, according to my opinion, youth should be instructed. But I have said nothing yet about the choice of subjects for instruction, nor about the method of teaching. Should language predominate or technical education and science? To this I answer, in my opinion, all this is of secondary importance. If a young man has trained his muscle and physical endurance by gymnastics and walking, he will later be fitted for every physical work. This is also analogous to the training of the mind and exercising of the mental and manual skill. Thus, the wit was not wrong who defined education in this way. Education is that which remains, if one has forgotten everything he learned in school. For this reason, I am not at all anxious to take sides in the struggle between the followers of the classical philological history education and the education more devoted to natural science. On the other hand, I want to oppose the idea that the school has to teach directly to special knowledge and those accomplishments which one has to use later directly in life. The demands of life are much too manifold to let such a specialized training in school appear possible. Apart from that, it seems to me moreover objectionable to treat the individual like a dead tool. The school should always have as its aim that the young man leave it as a harmonious personality, not as a specialist. This, in my opinion, is true in a certain sense even for technical schools, whose students will devote themselves to a quite definite profession. The development of general ability for independent thinking and judgment should always be placed foremost, not the acquisition of special knowledge. If a person masters the fundamentals of his subject and has learned to think and work independently, he will surely find his way and besides will be better be able to adapt himself to progress and changes than the person whose training principally consists in the acquiring of detailed knowledge. Finally, I wish to emphasize once more that what has been said here in a somewhat categorical form does not claim to mean more than the personal opinion of a man, which is founded upon nothing but his own personal experience, which he has gathered as a student and as a teacher. Let's go on to the next one. On classical literature, written for the Junkaufmann, a monthly publication. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this. Schweizerischer Kaufmännischer Verein and Jugendbund, February 29, 1952. I know I butchered those, but Somebody who reads only newspapers and at best books of contemporary authors looks to me like an extremely nearsighted person who scorns eyeglasses. He is completely dependent on the prejudices and fashions of his time, since he never gets to see or hear anything else. And what a person thinks on his own without being simulated or stimulated by the thoughts and experiences of other people is even in the best case, rather paltry and monotonous. There are only a few enlightened people with a lucid mind and style, and with good taste within a century. What has been preserved of their work belongs among the most precious possessions of mankind. We owe it to a few writers of antiquity that the people of the Middle Ages could slowly extricate themselves from the superstitions and ignorance that had darkened life for more than half a millennium. Nothing is more needed to overcome the modernist snobbishness. So that's Einstein on classic literature. And you've had Einstein on education. The importance of personal experience. And I know some people say, well, the internet is not really personal experience, but of course I disagree. I think I've been able to have really heavy conversations and back and forth with people from time to time that I would never have had out in public. Just wouldn't. Um, because, for one thing, the community that I'm in really doesn't care to talk about things like that. And we don't talk about things like that in public, only on the internet. So, the internet is where you get people really spill everything out. And I love it. So, I think it's been very useful. And if we misuse it or we don't use it to our benefit, that's not the fault of the internet. So I'll just say that, and we'll move on. And until next time, I want to say thank you for your support. Take care of your mind, take care of your body, and be safe.